Hey, this is Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump, the Big Bad Booty Daddy, and you listen to ICOPOD, the best podcast going today. Holler if you hear me.
And we're back with episode 69 of ICOPOD. I'm Bob Connolly Jr. And with me, as always, is Austin Skinner. Austin, how you doing, buddy, old pal?
There's nothing finer than the 69er. Just asked Scott Steiner.
Well, I guess that means I have to use Scott Steiner for the opener for this one.
Yeah, you probably should.
Yeah.
We were just talking off air, and it kind of threw me off guard because 69 episodes. We are on our march to the big 100.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane to think that we haven't missed a week. And not only have we not missed a week, we've incorporated bonus episodes. So for the little podcast that could, I'm pretty impressed with us, and I'm patting us on the back. Thank you, Barry Horowitz.
The true original pat myself on the back gimmick guy,
Yes.
Mr. Barry Horowitz.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been, well, I guess with all the bonus episodes, we're really, over like 80.
Yeah.
So we're on like 11 or 12 of those. So
Right.
we're doing pretty well for ourselves, I guess. People still decide to download and listen to us. Don't know why, but they do. If you listen to the previous episode, like last week's, I did in fact add in the Lex Luger theme song that Austin ever so hated during the part where he was like, "Don't do it." So that was a chore and a half to figure out and to do that appropriately, but I did it because I'm a wizard.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're the mechanisms guy over on that end.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of went to school for it, so like I should probably know.
I know it. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should know how to edit. So
Right.
but so with episode 69, WWF 94, a lot of you guys, we always mention how we take like a month off or whatever, and we did in fact take like a month off.
Yeah.
But again, nobody would know about it. It's now May 30th. When you're listening to this, it's going to be June 3rd because I can look into the future via a calendar.
That's right.
So we'll probably, realistically, we only have to sit down for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks at a time. Like each Thursday is when we usually do it. And then we'll be good for another month and a half without having to do anything.
Yeah, it's really weird because like originally it didn't really work out that way. Did it?
No. So we would normally go, because my work schedule before I was off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you would come over on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And I want to say, because you left in June,
Right.
so there must have been a month there where we still did it on Tuesdays, but then my work schedule again changed where I had to work 5 days a week, and then we were like, okay, well, we'll do Thursdays. So
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny because if you go all the way back to the first episode, we kind of mashed episodes 1 and 2 together.
Yes.
Which is, I'm so glad we don't do it like that. But I think the way we do it now, where we'll bang out the syndication, the associated syndication, and we'll bang out 2 episodes of Raw in one sit down. It can go on a little bit long, but I think the way we do it now is probably the best, just to A, not burn us out, and B, make sure that content is getting out weekly, because more than anything than that, I love me some consistency. And I know Bob does as well. That was one of, which we've talked about before, one of the anchor points for our podcast. I didn't want to be one of those podcasts where, aka Bob's Bearded Thoughts podcast, where you...
That's the Flair's fault, I'm telling you.
Yeah, so you'd get 2 episodes, and then 3 weeks would go by, you get another episode. Like I just wanted to be consistent. I wanted people to be able to count on ICOPOD. Hence why I coined the name ICOPOD, and I will take full credit for that as well as the logo. So I'd say it's a pretty joint effort between me and Bob. The fact that, I live 1,200 miles away, and we continue to produce content. Says something about our passion, I think. So I do. I enjoy sitting down even after a month break, jumping on here and talking about some old wrestling, because that's what I still love, is the old stuff.
Well, and it kind of recharges our batteries every time. And since our next pay-per-view isn't until, I think, late June, the episode we're covering here is going to be April 4th. So we got a significant amount of Raws before we even get to our next pay-per-view event.
Which I'm okay with, because I feel like we haven't watched a significant amount of Raws in a while. So I'm okay with that.
Well, I guess you're right. Because like February was, I guess, relatively short month. And then like WrestleMania 10 was oddly like in the middle of March. So yeah, I guess you're right. Like the gap between Rumble and Mania 10 wasn't a lot.
Right.
So yeah, that's a good point. But you just mentioned you're in Florida. I will be going to Florida for the very first time ever. And that is because I am going to be attending All Elite Wrestling's Fight for the Fallen, right? Or Fight of the Fallen? I think it's Fight for the Fallen.
Yeah.
Fight for the Fallen. With, of course, Hogan 98 money. We're going to be flying down to Orlando to see Mr. Austin Skinner. I think it's for the weekend, right? I think we're going down on a Friday.
I think you're flying down on a Thursday. You're getting in late Thursday, like 9 o'clock Thursday night, maybe.
Is it? See, I don't know.
Something like that. And then
it sounds about that. I think you're right. I think we're leaving like 3 o'clock on a Thursday.
Yeah.
And so then we have Friday, Saturday, come back Sunday.
Exactly. Yeah. You're flying out Sunday afternoon, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the plan.
I'm pretty excited for this All Elite Wrestling show. I just finished, literally today, I just finished watching All In.
Okay.
Now, I'm just going to point out, I did not start it like in September of 2018 and just now finished it in May of 2019.
Yeah.
I sat down. It's a 4-hour show, so I sat down a couple of different times to fully. It's a lot of wrestling. It's a lot of great wrestling too. A really good show. I haven't watched Double or Nothing yet. I'll probably watch that in like January of 2020 or something.
You gotta send me that shit.
I did.
Oh, well, I didn't look.
Okay, well, you probably should. But by all accounts, that looks like it was a phenomenal show as well. So I look forward to checking that out.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to see if people want to go to Poughkeepsie for a Northeast Wrestling show that has Jon Moxley, LA Park, Phoenix, Pentagon.
Holy shit. Poughkeepsie?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's where he went for the Redemption show that had Omega, Phoenix, Pentagon. Yeah. At the Mid-Hudson Civic Center, which I had mentioned on this podcast.
Did they do meet and greets?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Scott Hall tried hitting on Kaylee.
Nice.
And she completely no-sold him.
Nice.
Yeah. And then like Dallas met Pentagon and Phoenix probably within 6 minutes of being there. Like there was no lines for them.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm kind of hoping, which might be a little bit far-fetched, and not to, get too far off topic here, but when you guys are down here for this AEW show, I'm glad they'll have a little bit of more steam under their belt by then.
Yeah.
But touching back to meet and greets, they better be doing some fucking meet and greets, because I'm trying to meet fucking who ASAP.
Right.
So yes, I'm looking forward to that show. We haven't gone to a wrestling show together. I don't even know how long. It's been quite a long time. So I'm looking forward to it quite a bit. And I think from the venue pictures, our seats are going to be pretty decent. So that's exciting too.
Was our last show an Excite show?
Dude.
In December
of
I don't even know. 2017? The one where like Austin Aries was supposed to be there and didn't show up?
No, I think we went to another shitty show like that though. It was like a taping for something. Did I wear my whole Jushin Liger costume?
Yeah, but I think that was that show.
Oh, that was the December show? That might have been the last one.
Jimmy Jacobs and everything?
Yeah, that might have been the last one. I don't know. If so, holy shit.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. But yeah, if anybody's trying to figure out who's Austin trying to meet, it's Jon Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose.
Yes, Bob got me onto him quite a long time ago, and I've been a fan ever since, preferably his non-WWE stuff.
Yes.
Although the FCW stuff is some of my favorite. The pre NXT stuff. But yes, big fan. Got a lot of his merch and would totally be 100% sold on a meet and greet package.
Did we ever tell the story about how you were listening to an interview of his and then you heard my name?
I want to say we have on a bonus episode, but I don't think we've said it because he wouldn't have come up on a regular episode of ICOPOD. So if you want to share that story quickly, I wouldn't be mad about it. Okay,
so actually right before we got on air here, I was listening to an old interview from In Your Head Wrestling, hosted by Neil Jones, that they had with Jon Moxley in like 2010.
Yeah, old. Yeah,
pretty long ago. Moxley at that point was like 4 or 5 years in, being like kind of known, getting some steam with the Evolve and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and probably a couple years late after that, this is probably around 2013, 2014, maybe even a little later than that. Austin was listening to probably the same interview that I was just, on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
And about probably 33 minutes into it, there is a question by myself, Bob Gowing. And Austin sends me a text message and he goes, "Hey man, did you send a fucking question to like Dean Ambrose in like 2010 in an interview?" And I was like, "Yeah." And Austin's like, "I'm listening to that right now." And you had to like rewind it or something like a couple of times to see if it was actually from me or whatever it was.
Yeah. And just for a little bit of the backstory here. So I'm listening to this and it's like, it's almost like a forum question and answer for Ambrose to sit down and do. And all the questions are like pretty good and it's pretty interesting. And then this one question blows him away. Like he's floored that this question, this whoever asked this question like knew their shit or is asking about this feud from like years prior. And he was like floored and super impressed with the question. So I'm fucking listening to it. And cause the guy, the host says the name real quick. But I fucking play it back. This is fucking Bob Colling. And guess who the fuck Bob Colling is? The jackass who's on the other end of this microphone who blows away Dean Ambrose with the best question of the interview. Son of a bitch. And I'm listening to it. So yes, that was a thing. That was the thing. Do you want to kind of go over what the question was?
Well, yeah. Well, as you had mentioned, a lot of the questions in that format are always pretty basic, like the same kind of questions you always kind of hear.
Yeah.
Not from necessarily Neil, who's one of the first guys to give me a shot in terms of like interview recaps and stuff, but of other fans, it's like, "Hey, how did it feel to wrestle Jimmy Jacobs?" Or,
right.
Basic stuff like that. But the question was in regard to a feud that he had with Cody Hawk in Heartland Wrestling Association. And I had come across it completely randomly in 2006.
Yeah.
I remember I was at my mom's apartment and I was just looking up, independent wrestling because probably in even 2006, I was tired of WWE. I was just tired of pretty much all of it. And I came across Heartland Wrestling Association and they were doing internet pay-per-views before really anybody else. This is 2006.
Right.
And it was like a Cyber Clash or I think it's Cyber Clash 2.0.
Cyber Clash, yeah.
Yeah, Cyber Clash 2.0. And like, I remember I saw the card on their website and it had like Nigel McGuinness, all these guys, and a guy named Jon Moxley and Cody Hawk. And I just happened to see like on the top of their website, like, "Oh, we have this TV show or whatever, like an internet show." So I click on it and I'm watching it.
Is it Adrenaline?
Yes.
HWA Adrenaline.
HWA Adrenaline. And I think it was actually airing live at that moment.
Oh shit.
Crazy. Yeah. It was like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So it was like a crazy, like a stream of it. I caught it just randomly.
Nice.
And it was like a hype video for a Jon Moxley Cody Hawk match or their feud. And it was like culminating in a steel cage match. And I just remember watching. I was like, "Holy shit, this Jon Moxley, number one, is an asshole." And I love it. And Cody Hawk, who was a guy that I had seen in Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazines for years leading into this. He's like a surfer guy and like kind of a cool, funny looking guy. And I was just like, "Holy crap. Like, I wish I could see this." And like it was like a $14 internet pay-per-view. And I'm, 16, 17 years old. I don't have a credit card. I can't pay for this. So I don't know what to do with it. So I was just like, wow, I wish I could like watch the show. Probably just escapes my mind. And I haven't, I didn't see it. And then recently on YouTube, like a year or two ago, I saw it and I was like, holy fucking shit, I got to watch this. And it lived up to what it was. But yeah, my question was like, memories of that feud and everything. And like you said, he was just like, wow, I mean, that's pretty long ago. It's pretty cool that somebody remembers it. He proceeds to like talk in depth about it, like how you didn't want to win the cage match, but Cody was like, you have to, we're going to have you go over. And it's just, it's a weird thing, like to be, like, I'm kind of proud of that the knowledge and like seeing somebody from the Rise Up and ask that question. And he was just like, wow, all right, this guy, has a different kind of question for me. So
yeah, it was super cool. And like I said, it's literally almost the highlight of the interview that he does. And it's a pretty, I mean, it's lengthy. It's on YouTube. You can go and search it right now, but literally it like floored him. And it's fucking Bob's question. And here I am listening to it like a jackass. And it's Bob on the other end. Should have known. Yeah. I can never escape Bob Gowing Jr.
You can't. I'm always around. Real quick though, too, did I ever tell you my Brody Lee story?
Is it along the same lines of that?
No.
Oh,
it's not.
No, I don't know.
Kind of a funny thing too. So I'm a big Brody Lee, Luke Harper fan. And
yes, sure.
Again, like in a similar context, like looking up random shows or companies, I came across NWA Upstate, and I was looking at the card for it. And at the time, I was kind of a big Abyss fan, I guess, because there was like a steel cage match. Me and steel cage matches, I'm telling you, it's always
yeah.
But it was Abyss against Brody Lee, and I saw a picture of Brody Lee. I'm like, oh, this guy looks pretty cool. And he eventually would become Luke Harper. And then that's another match where freaking 12 years go by or whatever, and I finally see the match. So like,
did that one lead up?
Like Jon Moxley and Brody Lee are two of the guys that I probably had followed really early into their careers that became, stars, I guess.
Yeah, sure. At the big show. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say the Moxley Hawk match was better than Abyss and Brody. So.
That's probably fair. That's probably
should be much of a surprise. If anybody, maybe Mike Campbell or somebody, maybe they have a story too of like, oh, hey, I followed this guy from the beginning. You want to let us know? That'll be a little interesting thing to discuss. Maybe Mike Campbell followed Barry Windham since 1984 or something.
Most likely. Yeah.
He was in the top 10 for him. So
sure.
But all right, enough of my ramblings and
pats on the back and
weird flexes. Let's get into episode 69 of ICOPOD with some observer notes. It is expected that WWF World Champion Bret Hart will be defending against Yokozuna to headline the King of the Ring pay-per-view. That, of course, happens in late June. So we got several weeks to go before we get to that.
No surprises. I don't mean to cut you off there, but just to throw a comment in there, that's, to be expected.
Yeah. But before we get to King of the Ring, the WWF is going to be touring Japan. And I have listed here some of the, I guess, cities that they're going to. If I completely butcher it, it's because I don't have a wide vocabulary. So our show is taking place on May 7th in Yokohama. With Bret Hart defending against Randy Savage. Tenryu and The Undertaker will be taking on Yokozuna and Bam Bam Bigelow. On May 8th in Nagoya? That was my second guess. Will feature Bret against Bam Bam Bigelow, Undertaker versus Yokozuna, and Tenryu teaming up with Savage to take on Adam Bomb and Shawn Michaels. On May 9th in Osaka. 2 out of 3 is not bad. Bret taking on Owen. Tenryu taking on Yokozuna. And there will be a Royal Rumble match. And then on May 11th in Sapporo. Oh, I didn't say it with an accent. Bret will be taking on Yokozuna. Tenryu will be taking on Randy Savage. And Undertaker will be battling Adam Bomb. Those are the key matches on the cards, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, there's a lot of attraction style matches, I would say, in there. Which is funny because, commonly Japanese wrestling, you think it's all about the wrestling. But I feel like whenever an American is in Japan, they're always an attraction. So like you got, King Kong Brody is an attraction. Hogan's an attraction. Andre's an attraction. All these guys, it's like, I would even say absolutely a guy like Undertaker. Adam Bomb could be an attraction. Yokozuna is an attraction, so that totally makes sense to me. All those cards. And I would assume the rest might have been filled out with some WAR guys.
Yeah.
Probably
That'd be the
co-promotion sort of thing. So odds are there's smaller venues, which plays to the WWF's strengths probably at this time. So yeah, I'm sure that was probably fairly successful for them. And I bet you the cards aren't halfway bad.
Yeah. A long time ago, I reviewed the May 7th one because I wanted to see Brett and Randy Savage because luckily it was recorded. I want to say the 7th, 8th, and 9th are all recorded shows that I actually have on DVD somewhere. I've only recorded the May 7th one though, or reviewed the May 7th one.
Yeah.
Brett and Randy holds up pretty well. And just shows like it gets frustrating to see Randy Savage competing in that manner. And it's just like, hey man, want to be on commentary for the rest of your career? Just kind of infuriating. So, but I remember enjoying it. And I believe there was various WWF undercard guys on there, like 1, 2, 3 Kid.
Sure.
Compete on these shows and stuff like that. But
sure. I'd be interested in watching them at some point.
Well, here's the thing. If I can find a way to get those off of my DVD onto, I know there is a way to do that. I have no idea.
Yeah, you'd have to mess with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to make that another episode of here because it's, like I've said before, whenever there's a long way, it's probably the FBI calling me. Anytime that there's a long stretch between pay-per-views, to do like what we did with them, Madison Square Garden show.
To break it up a little bit.
Yeah, something different. And I think like a Japan show like that would be great.
Yeah.
Get a different feel for it.
Well, but get looking, you son of a bitch.
I'll try to figure out. Yeah, I got a little bit of time.
All right.
But like you mentioned with the headline for Americans in Japan, I think you're absolutely right. For the few Japanese Tokyo Dome shows that I've watched, despite having ordered and bought an unhealthy amount from IVP videos and have proceeded to watch like 2 out of the 40 that I bought, you can definitely tell that the Japanese wrestlers 100% are in ring in like stiff shots. And then anytime like an American guy comes out, it's like, you're going to be entertained, but like character entertained.
Yes.
Now that doesn't apply for like a Scott Stein, like your Steiner brothers and stuff, because they have a Japanese background.
Right.
So, like, I think Sting, Rick Rude.
Yeah.
Are like a mixture of both, but you can see like the,
that's an attraction. I would even argue Savage for sure.
Savage
probably
100%
an attraction for them. But yeah, it's so funny how things like that work. And it's a good point to make that too. Maybe even like, it might be specifically American. Because maybe American and Mexican wrestlers, lucha libre wrestlers. But as far as like the British style, that mixes very well with Puroresu, Japanese wrestling. So I wouldn't classify as like a, Zack Sabre Jr. as like an attraction. Because, of course, he's going to be seen as more so the wrestling part. But, classic pro wrestling Americans, I would say almost across the board, are going to be seen as an attraction. Yeah.
I completely agree with you on that. Kind of a shocking number here for the last Observer note. The March 28th edition of Raw, which was, I believe, Luger and Martel, I think I got that right, got a 3.3 rating, which is one of the highest ratings for Raw to this date. So maybe Lex Luger is still a relatively big draw. I don't know. Who knows?
Or is a fluke.
Yeah, maybe like there's nothing on television.
What the fuck?
Who wants to watch an 11-minute Lex Luger versus Rick Martel match? Oh, I do.
Oh, yeah, dude. Put it on, dude.
Can't imagine that being accurate.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
House show notes. For like the first week of April, there were not many house shows. In fact, there was a tour of Israel, and they had two house shows there. The first one taking place on April 2nd, and the second show taking place on April 3rd. So I'll just run down the cards here and see if we would bother going to Israel for any of this. The first one was, I can't pronounce this, Holon Israel. I don't know.
Shalom.
Shalom. Yeah, it's all the same. Earthquake took on Bam Bam Bigelow. 1-2-3 Kid was in singles action against Quang. Fatu battled Mo. Mabel battled Samu. Tatanka squared off against Jeff Jarrett. Diesel was in singles action against Randy Savage. And the main event saw WWF World Champion Bret Hart and WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon teaming up to take on Owen Hart and Shawn Michaels.
That's a pretty solid card.
I think I would go to that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty solid.
Although I don't know why like Men on a Mission, Head Shrinkers are doing singles.
Well, I was going to say, you can tell where they're trying to use some Bondo to fill out the middle of the card there. But yeah, I would say, for the most part, especially for being in fucking Israel, that's a pretty solid card with some decent talent on it.
Yeah.
So, yes.
The second show took place in Tel Aviv, Israel, on April 3rd, 1984. Bam Bam Bigelow squared off against Tatanka. Jeff Jarrett squared off against 1-2-3 Kid. Earthquake was in singles action against Quang. WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon defending against Shawn Michaels. Mo battled Fatu. Diesel again competed against Randy Savage. And the main event saw WWF World Champion Bret Hart defending against Owen Hart.
I don't know which card I like better. I might like that second one better. Some of the matchups I feel like aren't as good.
I'm going to go with the first one.
Yeah.
I feel like the tag main event would be really good. Of course, Bret Owen would be good too. But.
Right. Wow, man. I'm pretty impressed with some fucking Israel cards here.
Maybe I'm going to change my mind.
I'm thinking.
Because the second show, okay, Bigelow Tatanka could be pretty good.
There's heat.
Like the Royal Rumble match, not bad.
Well,
Jarrett 1-2-3 Kid
could be decent.
Could be pretty solid.
Yeah.
Ramon Michaels, depending on how they're feeling, probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Diesel Savage could probably sell his way through that pretty well. And Bret Owen's going to be probably great. Because on the first show, it's really like, what? Quake Bigelow. It's probably not going to be much of anything.
Right.
Quang 1-2-3 Kid. That could be surprisingly solid.
Something.
Tonka Jarrett. Again.
Maybe.
Diesel Savage again. And then the tag main event could be pretty good too. But I
Really
feel like
good.
the second one is more well-rounded.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I think for me, I'm sticking with my original guns. I'm going definitely to the second show, probably because it's the day I was born. So I'll probably go there. And then if I got the extra money, the extra ticket money, I'll go to the first one. I'll go to both.
Well, I would go to both too, but I think I'm going to change my original opinion where I said the first card was better. I think the second one to me would be more intriguing. So
told you, Bob.
It's relatively the same guys working them, but
yeah,
the way that it's placement and the matchups they use seem a little more entertaining potentially. On to some syndication. Boy, does this have some huge developments. It's on the April 2nd edition of Superstars. Jeff Jarrett squared off against Sparky Plug Bob Holly in singles action.
Thurman Plug. Nice try.
I know him as Bob.
Well,
so Thurman Plug. Sparky Thurman Plug. I'm not going to be saying that. I'm going to stick to Bob. I don't care how far along we are. He doesn't. I don't care. He's Bob fucking Holly. So here we go. Early on, Jarrett has control on Bob with a hip toss and a simple headlock. Follows up with a scoop slam before going to basic rest holds. Plug hits a running crossbody, but only gets a near fall in the cover. Jarrett cheap shots Plug in the corner, regains control, sending Sparky into the corner. Plug is dropped throat first across the top rope by Jarrett. Jarrett drives Plug down to the canvas with a snap suplex. He then proceeds to miss Plug in the corner and is slammed down to the mat. Jarrett quickly recovers by hitting a clothesline. He then connects with a drop kick and gets the win. However, Plug had his leg under the ropes and the referee waves off the victory. So the match must continue. Thank God. Jeff is not happy about that decision. Sparky nearly gets the surprise victory, but Jarrett kicks out. Jarrett misses a top rope, a fist drop, and Plug knocks him down with a back elbow and a knee lift. Plug is going for several pin attempts, but isn't able to keep him down. Plug pins Jarrett following a clothesline, but Jeff had got his foot on the bottom rope, but the referee didn't see that one. So Plug wins the match. After the match, Jarrett is protesting in the ring, and we'll kind of expand on that in a minute. But what did you think of the match between Jarrett and Sparky Plug?
Just a couple of notes here is just to kind of highlight your play-by-play there, Bob. I would definitely, speaking of highlighters, actually, so in my mind, when it comes to Plug's and Jarrett's ring attire, I visually see them backstage with full white gear, no designs, no patterns, just white gear. And every venue they're in, WWF sets up this room. And this room has wax paper across the entire floor and just doppels of paint everywhere. Just all different colors paints. And Bob Holly, as Bob calls him, and Jeff Jarrett go into this room and they just roll around in the fucking paints for about 25 minutes.
I had a feeling that's where you were going with it.
And that's their gear. And sometimes Jeff will jump in a sequence pile on his way out the room. So that's what we're getting here. They're literally, the costumes are absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what the thought process is behind them. They don't look cool at all. Just so cheesy. So cheesy. So that's what we're getting here. We're getting, both guys are just at 10s on the cheese scale as far as attires. And I'm the guy to point that out, and Bob isn't.
Yeah, so like I've always said, I'm always the action play-by-play. You're the guy that obviously will watch it, but will also pay attention to the signs and the nosebleeds, proper attire, changes to people's freaking hair or whatever. Yeah. Like that's your go-to. Mine's like I don't care about any of that. I'm focused just on people wrestling. So.
Right. So that's what I was thinking right off the bat here with these guys. Another big thing that I've noticed, especially with Thurman Plug, is that they're keeping it foolproof for him right now. I'm talking headlocks, fucking drop down leapfrogs, clotheslines, and really anything other than that, maybe a scoop slam here or there, they ain't doing with him. He's keeping it real basic because I'm thinking that they're trying to avoid mistakes early on. That's the way it feels to me. And it's pretty much every Plug piece of action that we've gotten is that. Basics. Which isn't necessarily bad, but I'm picking up on it. So maybe it's not necessarily good either. Vince here on commentary says that most NASCAR drivers have the weekend off, but not Sparky Plug. He is using his weekend to wrestle instead. And this is going to be a theme that we'll talk about this week. We'll talk about it next week and probably several weeks beyond that. Vince is sucking Thurman Plug's dick at commentary. Hardcore. Just blowing him. Waxing his muffler on commentary. And it's worse next week, but I definitely picked it up right here for this syndication match.
He's wanting to stick a banana up that exhaust pipe, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he wants to be in Sparky Plug's pit crew, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So we're getting that here right off the bat with Vince. He's really trying to get him over on commentary. As far as like the finish and stuff, I thought it was pretty stupid. I mean, of course, the ref is going to miss that the face gets an easy one over Jeff and all this. But I did like the fact that Jeff pulls a chair into the ring and like basically has a sit-down protest. Like, oh, I'm not leaving because that was unfair. As far as the match goes, I mean, you're really not missing much. Lawler had some good kind of one-offs in here, as he usually does. Plug nearly rolls Jeff up for a pin. Plug hits a snap suplex. Jeff is up before he was fist dropped off the second rope. So the missed fist drop, Lawler says, man, that's his guitar playing hand too. So just little things where he's kind of peppering in some color was really good. Yeah, man, pretty run of the mill. Felt like it kind of went forever though too. So that's where I was at with it. I'm glad that they're trying something with these guys at least, that they're not necessarily getting lost in the shuffle. Like they might get a feud out of this or something. But yeah, nothing earth shattering here.
I think it's kind of funny that Sparky's kind of having basic matches, despite the fact that he's been wrestling for several years.
Yeah, it's pretty weird to me. It's pretty weird. It feels like to me, either they're protecting him or they're not sure what they want him to do yet. So they're just saying, stick to the basics, kid. We'll figure something out for you.
Yeah. And then this finish, I think, would have been far more effective if Jarrett had any sense of momentum. But considering he has a tough time with Scott Thomas or whatever, Mark Thomas or PJ Walker, whoever, that him losing to Sparky Plug, even by the manner of how this has happened, it benefits pretty much nobody. It doesn't benefit Sparky because in my eyes, it's like he technically, I mean, sure he won, but he didn't really win because Jeff's foot was underneath the rope. So this helps pretty much nobody. So.
Yeah, it was just a little it's confusing. Like if the end goal is Plug goes over, what is really the damage that gets done on Jeff Jarrett if Sparky Plug pins him clean?
Nothing. Because Jarrett's I don't think he's beaten anybody, has he? Like in a featured match?
So like just do that.
Right.
We don't need the fucking convoluted finish every match, always. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not gonna get fired up about finishes yet, Bob.
Well, it came across as like we want to maybe give Sparky some momentum, but then protecting Jeff. But the irony here is that you're hurting both men.
Literally,
by what you're doing.
Over. Yeah, nobody's over.
Because if Sparky just gets like a surprise clean win, I'll be like, yeah, let's go, Sparky. All right.
Right.
But instead it's like, dude, he didn't win.
Yeah.
And he knows he didn't win. Like, give me a break.
Right.
Well, as mentioned here, Jarrett proceeds to protest it. He's like, this is ridiculous. So I want Sparky Plug to come back out here and face me like a man, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Well, instead of Sparky Plug, we get Doink and Dink. So this is going to be great. Sparky does end up coming out, and he pins Jarrett from behind. And Doink, I guess, is going to be a sanctioned referee because he counts a 1, 2, 3. Later on in the show, Jarrett is no longer really protesting it. He is proclaiming that the WWF will be changed to the JJF when he beats Plug next week on Superstars.
So you want me to lie to you, or do you want me to tell you the truth?
Shoot it to me straight.
As soon as Doink's music hits, you almost get that like sinking feeling into your stomach that we're in deep shit. Okay.
A national emergency is about to take place.
It's like when you're on the highway after Taco Bell and you just get that feeling in your stomach that says, hey, you're going to blow water out of your ass in about 4 seconds. That's what it felt like. Here they come, fucking Doink and Dink down to the ring. And I'm thinking, okay, the way Vince is playing it on commentary, they're just scheduled for the next match and they're going to just like try and shoo Jarrett out of the ring and like start their match or whatever. Oh no. That's not what happened, folks. Basically what we got is like Bob said. So Plug comes back out. Doink, I guess, is seeing himself as an official. We get a roll up and a count to 3. So like that doesn't mean shit to me. And the fact that it's Doink involved really makes it not mean shit to me. So we get that. Okay, fine. Maybe it's done. Maybe that's it. Just a little comedy at the end. Okay. Doesn't matter. The fact that Plug picks up Dink and holds him like a baby as Jeff threw a fit on the outside just is like the cherry on top. Sparky Plug let me read that again on my notes. Sparky Plug picks up Dink and holds him like a baby on his hip as Jeff Jarrett throws a fit on the outside. A fit that he just got pinned by a clown and counted his shoulders to the mat as if it mattered.
Right.
So really the only fact coming out of this is that if these guys are in any way associated with Doink or Dink or both of them, is not a good sign. It's for me, and it's sad to say at this point, Doink is like a cancer that you want to stay far clear of. Because if you brush elbows with Doink, your days are numbered.
He's the potential career killer.
Yeah, it's cancer. If you get the cancer on you, you're in deep shit. So I'm really hoping not enough of Doink rubbed off on either of these guys yet, because we haven't gotten nearly enough from either of these guys yet. And I'm telling you, man, it's Bam Bam Bigelow all over again, and that's what I'm fearing. I'm fearing it.
What if this is the beginning of a 4-month angle between Doink and Jeff, and we get it at SummerSlam?
I'm not going to be happy with that.
That's immediately what crossed my mind after watching this. I was like, well, there's probably no King of the Ring. They're probably both going to be in the tournament or something.
Sure,
or one of the three of these guys who have, something's going to happen there.
Right.
What if they fucking carry this out until fucking SummerSlam?
I dread the thought of that. I dread the possibility of that.
What are the odds of Jeff Jarrett getting a miniature Jeff Jarrett? We get a Doink and Dink versus Big Jeff, Mini Jeff at SummerSlam 1994.
Well, then I'm taking that Taco Bell 4-second and I'm shitting my pants. And just drive home with the shame of shit in my pants. Just like I would drive home in shame if I booked that bullshit.
Yeah. I don't think Doink has any positive redeeming qualities.
In the WWF at this time? No. Not the character they have him playing.
Nope. And spoiler alert, I know I've mentioned it before. He is there, I think, even into the Monday Night Wars. So that means that we have at least
3 years,
16 months of fucking Doink the Clown. This incarnation of him. Sure, over the years, there's other wrestlers that would pretend to be Doink. So I guess technically this could be going on for years and years. But in this incarnation, I'm pretty sure it's around 16 to 18 months. So be prepared for nothing but negativity.
We're going to get 6 months down the line here, folks. And literally our notes are going to be left one set Doink the Clown match. And we're just going to say that and just skip right over it. Not even talk about it.
I would not be opposed to that.
Doink the Clown segment. And then just, that's it.
Moving along.
Yeah.
When we go, if he's on, eventually we get to having to do live watches, when Doink's on, we'll just be silent.
We'll just put in
6 minutes.
Music. We'll just put in elevator music.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. Because that's what it is.
Yeah, you need a bathroom break? Great.
Nobody likes riding on the elevator for a prolonged period of time. That's how I feel watching a Doink match. I'm watching the buttons light up like, holy fuck, is it my floor yet?
Right. You're on ground floor and you got to go up to floor 40.
Yeah.
And there's a stop on every single floor to get someone else on it.
Yeah, it ain't an Otis elevator. This is one of the old shitty ones.
It's always shaking. You think it's going to stop.
Yeah.
But it's going to keep going.
Fuck, man.
Well, we got to keep on going. And here we are with the April 4th, 1994 edition of Monday Night Raw from Poughkeepsie, New York. And we are fucking taped still.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
A backstage confrontation opens the show. And it is between Stone Cold Steve Austin and it is between Adam Bomb and Earthquake. Now, if you're wondering, what's the context of this? Well, at WrestleMania 10, Earthquake pinned Adam Bomb in about 27 seconds. So Adam Bomb has waited 3 weeks to now confront Earthquake. And he's like, yo, it was a fluke at WrestleMania 10, and like, I'm going to get you tonight. And Quake's just like, yeah, huh? All right, well, I'll see you out there. Dude, and that's our confrontation.
Let me tell you, if Bruce Pritchard produced this shit, he should punch himself in the face. Because what we get is, first of all, they left way too much footage in the beginning, because you can tell that they're literally just standing there looking at each other. And somebody must have cued them, because then all of a sudden they start arguing. Like, they're just standing there and then they burst into an argument. Like, how forced and shitty is this?
I'm taking it as Earthquake probably said something. And since Adam Bomb is a deformed mutant, it probably took him 7 seconds to be like, wait a minute. That's fucked up. I'm going to get you. And then he's like,
insult.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Was that sarcasm?
Yeah. So that's what we get here. Officials kind of keep them separate. Like Bob says, Quake really doesn't say anything. He's just like,
okay, man. Who are you? Like, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know if that's a way to like continue the heat. Cool. But it was not good.
No. If this was their attempt to make an Atom Bomb Earthquake angle seem important, I was kind of laughing, chuckling to myself after that.
Yeah, like, am I really gonna stick around for this shit?
Yeah. I was literally looking at my PlayStation 4 controller and like, maybe I'll skip this one. Maybe I'll just like pretend. Like, oh yeah, it was a great match. Like, I was like,
no, yeah.
I can't imagine in 1994 being like, I am not going to watch NBA right now. I'm definitely going to keep watching this show. This is going to be great. Michael Jordan's playing? Nah, fuck that. I want to watch Atom Bomb Earthquake. This would be great.
Yeah.
We get our Raw opening video after that. And of course, we go into the arena where Vince McMahon is joined by Gorilla Monsoon this week. And as per usual, well, they were definitely in front of a green screen.
Oh my God.
Like 100,000%, right?
So bad. And like, they even tried to angle it where it looks like they're ringside, but it's so and it's a fucking green screen.
Yeah.
Like, they're not fooling anybody.
If you just look at their head,
yeah,
you can just tell that there's something behind it instead of like there.
Yeah.
It's just bad.
It's like outlined. They're outlined.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look real. Why even bother? Why even bother doing that?
So you're like 2 minutes into the show. I don't know about you, but I've been laughing for 2 whole straight minutes
dude, yeah.
for this show. Like, are you fight? Like, why, dude? This is not 1986 where it's like they're probably there. It's like, no, you're not.
No, you're fucking not. And then the best part is you go, oh, we're taped. Yeah, I fucking say, holy shit, man. Fucking awful.
So bad. Of course, they go over what will be on this show for Monday Night Raw, which leads us to our first match. It's between the two guys that just can't get along. It's Earthquake taking on Adam Bomb, and Bomb is still pissed off about WrestleMania 10, so he attacks Earthquake before the bell. But Quake takes Bomb down with a hip toss and clothesline, sending Bomb over the top to the floor. Bomb attempts a couple of shoulder blocks, but doesn't get Earthquake off his feet. Bomb drops Earthquake throat first across the top rope and connects with a slingshot clothesline and drops an elbow for a near fall. Bomb clotheslines Quake, but Quake gets tangled in the ropes. We see Harvey Whippleman is trash talking Howard Fink on the floor for whatever reason. We must continue that feud for some reason. Bomb hits a top rope flying clothesline for a near fall. Quake with a belly to belly suplex, an elbow drop, and a leg drop, followed by the sit-down Earthquake splash to pick up the win. What'd you think of Earthquake Adam Bomb?
Well, it's just to start it right off at the top here. When Earthquake's making his entrance, I feel like every time I see Quake in action, he looks in better shape, which is kind of exciting. Like, I hope he is trying to get in better shape, because
he's in better shape compared to like when we saw him in 93.
Yeah.
Or even like 92, even like 92. Yeah, I think he's in better shape.
I would agree. And it's kind of exciting because, again, we both like Earthquake.
Yeah.
So hopefully, that's a sign for good things to come. He did get a decent reaction. Fucking Adam Bomb got no reaction.
Nothing.
When he came out. And like you said, he went right into it. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe they're going to get some time here. Maybe they'll be able to pull out a halfway decent match. not so much the case. We got a lot of stalling on the outside. Adam Bomb kept going to the outside to like talk to Harvey. And it got to the point where it's like, okay, like how many questions you need to ask this dude? You're the wrestler. What the fuck's he know? Get in there and wrestle. So that was a little distracting. Again, like you said, the Finkel thing, like we pulled away from the action to highlight this Harvey Fink standoff. And then like Fink stands up and Harvey backs away. Like, is this really an angle we're trying to push during this match here? It was just confusing timing. Like, why do we need that? Just another distraction, which I didn't like from the action. A lot of basic stuff here. I mean, Quake controlled a lot of the match. It did look like he was having some back issues, though, at one point. And I don't know if he was just selling or maybe something's nagging him. I'm not sure. But again, yeah, so Bob says here, clean victory over Bomb. And in my mind, that's goodbye and good night, Adam Bomb. I mean, that's if he was in the casket before, that's the flowers on top and lowering him into the ground. I think officially you have to, not that you want to, I think you have to be off the Adam Bomb train now. How do you come back from that? I don't think you can. I don't think you can.
It's depressing. Everything you just said about Adam Bomb being done is exactly what I got after watching that.
It sucked.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy Adam Bomb's in-ring. I think he has some great agility and stuff like that. But he's, as a heel, like you're done. And then I can't imagine as a babyface, because he's had no momentum as a heel. If they were to turn him face, fans are gonna be like, this guy loses to anybody.
Yeah.
Losing to Earthquake. Not to put anything against Earthquake, but
at the same time, man, it's like he came in with pretty good momentum. Like, here's this big dude, athletic dude, awesome look. We haven't seen much of him before. It's not like a guy fresh out of WCW. If you've seen one match, you've seen 1,000 of them. It's like, okay, this is exciting. And it's like you slowly watch that decay and just die right in front of your eyes. And it just sucks. And from the top of this match to the very end, it's just no reaction. Barely getting any moves in. Clean finish. Relying on the manager the whole time. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
And what's funny is he was like undefeated under the radar for like 6 months.
Yeah.
It was against enhancement guys or whatever.
Right.
But for, for the second half of 93, he was like on the rise. He was left off of SummerSlam, which blew our mind.
Oh my God. Ridiculous.
Like, how does he not have a match? But Ludwig Borga, who had been there for 2 weeks, gets a squash over fucking Jannetty.
Right.
Yeah, and then like he's randomly on the Survivor Series team, and then doesn't do much there either. He is just, if you ever want to talk about missed opportunities or underutilized, and this has happened a couple of times in his career, again later on in WCW.
Yeah,
it's Adam Bomb or Brian Clark, like,
right,
100%.
Right.
So, for however long that he's stuck in this heel persona and probably continues to lose to Earthquake, it's just going to be more and more frustrating and disappointing as a viewer to see, like, this guy's got plenty of potential if you just give him the opportunity and you just squander it.
It's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. I don't know what he's missing. I don't think he's missing anything.
I would never, I don't think I ever would have put him with Harvey Wittleman.
No, he doesn't need him.
No, he doesn't. He was with Polo first, right?
Yeah, for like 2 weeks,
like a month or so. If you don't have him with Polo, just leave him by himself.
Just leave him by himself.
He doesn't have to say anything.
Doesn't need to talk.
Just stick out your wicked red tongue, and we'll just focus on those yellow eyes, and that should be enough. Harvey Wippleman has a stigma of being like a loser. Everybody that he manages loses.
Or leaves.
Like Sid left.
Sid.
Kamala, gone.
Giant Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Mr. Hughes.
Right. He has not had a successful partnership with anybody.
Yeah. And it's like the whole thing is when you look like that and you know as a fan, he can perform. And then after each move, he's going out and bailing out and talking to the manager. Who's the focus on? When you're pulling away from the action, when the manager's arguing with the fucking ring announcer, where's the focus?
Right.
Why is Adam Bomb getting absolutely fucking shit on by the company, his own manager? Like, everybody's against Adam Bomb. And it sucks because as a fan, I wasn't. But at this point, if that's the best we're going to get and his best days are behind him, which it feels like, then I can't be a fan anymore. And that sucks because, like we've talked about much airwave time about, we liked Adam Bomb. He's got the look. He can do the moves. He doesn't need the manager. And yet, here we are.
So not only does Bomb do the job, but the main focus here is the ever intense and personal feud between Harvey Whippleman and the Fink.
So annoying.
And I want to point out that Fink, or excuse me, Harvey Whippleman, we can both probably say a balding man.
Yes.
Is insulting a man who is bald.
Yeah.
So just so the irony isn't lost on anybody,
mm-hmm.
A man who's like, you don't have any hair, also doesn't have any hair.
And speaking of irony, it's pretty ironic that Adam Bomb is playing a radioactive character because, as I said, we literally watched him decay over the last fucking not even a handful of months.
The more exposure we got to him, the more that he just fell apart.
Yeah. And the sicker we got.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. It was like, oh, cool. All right. He's great. Yeah. And like the fourth one, we're like, all right, well, there's still hope. By the eighth appearance, we're just like, okay, get away from me.
Yeah, it's just, I can't, man. I can't. Yeah. How can I like you still if I know you're a consistent loser and lose to Earthquake, who we haven't seen in quite a while?
It's a baffling question.
Yeah.
But speaking of consistent losers, we see footage from WrestleMania 10 where Mr. Perfect screwed Lex Luger out of winning the WWF World Championship. And we get kind of a pre-tape promo here. I think you just appreciated my segue there for Constant Loser. I see you were smirking there for a little bit, so I appreciate that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've listened to some radio.
Yeah.
So Lex Luger is cutting a promo, and he says that he isn't happy with Mr. Perfect. God, I would hope he is not. Why would you be happy about this?
It's okay, man.
Luger says that if Perfect had an issue with him, Perfect should have addressed it with him personally, like a man. And now Luger is making it clear that he wants Perfect in the ring to settle it once and for all. Looks like we're going to be getting a Luger Perfect program moving forward.
I think for Lex, in Lex's case, he works best, and even working best by Lex Luger standards isn't great, but he works best with an idiot heel like a Ludwig Borga or a Yokozuna. I don't think it's going to go very well for either party for a feud like this moving forward, because we've obviously seen if Mr. Perfect isn't focused or motivated, Mr. Perfect kind of blows. And we kind of know what Lex is all about, and it's kind of along the same lines of that. So if we're getting two guys who just don't give a fuck, pack a lunch, buddy, because we're screwed. And I don't know, man. That's kind of how it's feeling. I feel like with this promo, Lex is mailing it in. I don't feel any passion whatsoever from Lex Luger. And if that's going to be the case, I'm telling you, Mr. Perfect's going to follow suit, and then we're in trouble.
Well, the feud left a poor taste in my mouth in '93. So
yeah,
I can definitely tell you I have no appetite for a Lex Luger Mr. Perfect program in 1994.
Right.
So But by God, we must promote it. And that's why Gorilla Monsoon is in the ring, and he's there to interview Mr. Perfect. Monsoon thought that Perfect was a man with class. Perfect says that he still is a classy man, and that he doesn't have a problem with Lex Luger, and that he called the match perfectly right down the middle. He says that he let it slide when Luger put Cornette and Fuji in the ring. He also let it slide when Luger put his hands on him the first time. Perfect was then pushed by Luger and had to follow the rules to disqualify Luger. Monsoon chimes in and says that he thinks that Perfect has a vendetta against Lex Luger, and he also believes that if they were to meet in the ring, that Luger will get the proper revenge against Mr. Perfect. And now, of course, Perfect has a look of like, I don't really appreciate your comments there, Monsoon. Monsoon not really being unbiased here either. Clearly supportive of Luger. Mm-hmm. Did this interview at all change your mind about this Perfect Luger feud?
No, to be honest with you, if anything, it confirmed my fears. Because I hate to say it, but Perfect just doesn't seem interested. And
he really does not.
He just, there's literally no passion from anything he's saying. I feel like I can tell he doesn't believe what he's talking about, which takes me out of it completely. Gorilla's getting almost the better of him on the mic here. And it's feeling like Perfect almost doesn't know like rebuttals or what to say to Gorilla. I think Perfect makes some decent points, which we've touched on before. You can't really argue that, hey, okay, Lex did kind of push him a little bit. And as the official, maybe part of that, a small part of that, was fair on Lex Luger to get disqualified. But at the same time, he's saying, I called it right down the middle perfectly. He blames Lex for bringing one of the managers into the ring and then a second manager. Says he's trying not to be biased, all this stuff. So, it's a facade. I don't know, man. I don't know. And then when Gorilla is like blatantly, no, you got a vendetta against him, I was like, oh shit, what's Perfect going to say to this? And again, I feel like he kind of didn't know what to say. He just goes, I got a lot on my mind. Luger needs to know that when you touch Mr. Perfect, you're going to pay for it. And that's it. That's all we got.
I feel like towards the end, like before Monsoon chimed in, it looked like Perfect was walking off, like he thought it was over.
Definitely looking to exit. And Gorilla continued it.
Right. And he like dragged him back in. Perfect was just like, dude, I have nothing else really to say.
Perfect had nothing.
Yeah.
So just no, not good. Not good.
We've mentioned it before. Like the whole angle makes no sense to me because why would Luger? Because again, the whole special referee thing was like both parties have to agree to the referee.
Yeah.
So Luger agreed to Mr. Perfect being the referee, knowing that a year ago they hated each other. There was at no point on television or anything that they had patched things up.
Right.
So.
Right.
How are you just like, why the hell would he screw me over? Well, you hit him with a freaking metal forearm back in April of 93, and like you guys never smoothed it over. You guys still hate each other. Just because you're pro-America doesn't mean like
I forgive you.
It's all right.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's cool. No biggie. I'm like, no. So just continuation apparently has been a struggle for the WWF dating back to 1994. And probably even well before then. But in this context of the series, this is a prime example of this poor continuation for your characters.
It's just a bummer because when we got a glimpse of, say, Perfect with Shawn, Perfect seemed genuinely interested in working that program.
Well, and I think he was because what I had read in the Observer and stuff like that, and like that, because he had left after or right before Survivor Series. He was under the impression that he was going to win the title. He was going to be the Intercontinental Champion.
Right.
So
Yeah.
So his motivation was like, cool, I'm in a title feud. I'm going to be champion again. And now in this context here, he's like, he's feuding with Lex Luger. He knows that at WrestleMania 9, their match sucked. So he's like, do I really want to fucking run the loop with this guy for probably 6 months, having awful matches with a guy that is not a great in-ring worker?
Right.
Probably not.
Right.
Like, he's not fighting Brett. He's not fighting Randy. He's not fighting Shawn. He's fucking Lex Luger. Like, no, this is not fun.
Right. And I hate to say it, but judging from the outside in, you got to be even less excited knowing that this guy has lost consistently, as you decided to joke about. And odds are Mr. Perfect's going to lose to Lex Luger at some point. Like, that's probably going to be the end all be all. Lex is probably going to go over.
I would have to hope so, because Luger, what, pay-per-view wise, he hasn't won a match since WrestleMania 9.
Yeah.
Or no, well, he technically won Survivor Series, but it wasn't a singles match.
Sure. Right.
He co-won the Royal Rumble.
Right.
But he didn't win it on his own.
So for Perfect, knowing this, because you know this, that's got to take the wind out of your sails even more. But at the same time, man, you got to make do with what you got. And I feel like Perfect's just not like one of them guys where he's willing to kind of just roll over and go with it. It's like fucking all or nothing with him. So I don't know. I don't think I'm looking forward to it very much at all.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, on paper, really, for your house shows, it might look like, oh, that's a strong card. But then, like, you see it one time and it sucks. You're not going to get tricked again. And by God, we are not going to get tricked again. We go into our second contest of the evening. It is WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon taking on Austin Steele. This is pretty much by the books here. Ramon controls Steele early on with hip tosses and a scoop slam. He then locks in the abdominal stretch. Ramon with a fallaway slam. And then he hits the choke slam. He signals for the end, and he hits the Razor's Edge for the win. Not a bad squash. Pretty basic by Ramon, I thought.
Yeah, I agree with you. And for those who don't know who Austin Steele is, he's basically the fat Ric Flair. He literally wears the knee pads down where Flair wears them. He's got the finger tapes, the blonde hair. He yells out like Flair when he's selling. It's the whole deal, full ripoff. But I have to tell you what, man, Razor was tanned, jacked, and looked like a fucking star. He has for quite a while now, and if it's me, dude, he's beyond the IC title at this point for me. Like, that guy, remember back when he was challenging Brett for the fucking title at Royal Rumble? Yep. Yeah, he needs to be there again because he's over. He looks good. He can wrestle. He's got cool moves. And he obviously is selling merch because every time we look in the crowd, it's a crowd shot of somebody holding up a fucking Razor Ramon Machismo t-shirt.
Which I've always wanted that t-shirt. The one with his I think it's his face or whatever, and it's like a yellow razors on the side or whatever.
It's on WWE.com. I did buy one.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Are you serious?
Swear to God. But it's like a weird, like stretchy material. It's not cotton, which is kind of a bummer.
Oh, well, that's not worth it then.
Yeah, but I did buy one.
Well, I remember, I want to say recently, people were talking about t-shirts or whatever, and that shirt came up, and everybody was like, "Oh, that fucking t-shirt sucks." So I didn't want to comment and be like, "I've always wanted that t-shirt."
Oh yeah, I've always
pretty cool.
Yeah, I literally always wanted it too, so I bought it, hoping it was a cotton shirt. I'm to find out it's like one of the stretchy like polyester ones, and fits like shit. But like, it's cool that I have it,
Right? Yeah. Just like my Public Enemy jersey that I got from Sonny Ono and promptly ripped. $75 down the drain.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of, that's where I'm at with Razor. It was a solid squash. He's laying some shit in, laying in chops, hits the fucking Razor's Edge. The guy folds up per usual. Yeah, it was run of the mill, but again, it's a good reminder that Razor's a fucking star for sure.
Yeah, his transformation compared to, like you said, Royal Rumble 93 is nuts. He looks like he's ready for that.
Yeah.
That jump. But I think that jump really started at SummerSlam 93.
Yeah.
In terms of popularity and stuff
like
that. So should be interesting to see where he goes from here on. Like, does he get elevated into there? Is he always just going to be stuck as an upper mid card? Because I agree. I would put him up in the main event at this point.
Dude, yeah. If it were me, Razor's going up. He's moving up.
I mean, sure, he just kind of was there for the ladder match. Like, that was pretty much all Shawn. But
well,
I think Ramon's offense is is big time. Some good, powerful stuff that he displays every time out.
Yeah.
Like the middle rope fallaway slam, I would think in 94 is like nuts.
Right.
Compared to today where like every match does that seemingly. So, but back then it was just like, whoa, wow, that's a big time move.
Yeah. Right.
We see footage from last week where Captain Lou Albano surprised the WWF World Tag Team Champions, the Quebecers, with his team, the Head Shrinkers. Fatu and Samu.
Stupid.
So that pretty much signifies a face turn for the Head Shrinkers that we've talked about before. Vince McMahon and Gorilla Monsoon hype up the eventual Quebecers taking on the Head Shrinkers for the WWF World Tag Team Championships. Backstage, the Quebecers say they will face anyone next week on Raw. So McMahon plugs a vote line where fans can choose who the Quebecers face, whether it's the Bushwhackers, Men on a Mission, and the Smoking Guns. I want to point out that they just talked about the potential match between the Quebecers and Head Shrinkers, and the Head Shrinkers are not in the vote line, but the Bushwhackers are. I get Men on a Mission. They just wrestled at each other at WrestleMania 10. And I can understand the Smoking Guns. Why are the Bushwhackers there? Do they not want to put the Head Shrinkers in there? Because they probably know the Head Shrinkers aren't going to win that fan vote. But come on.
I don't know, but like, don't do that back to back.
Yeah.
Just show us that some other time. Because again, it's like, okay, cool. So there's some history there. Like maybe we should vote for them. All right, let me get my fucking home phone out and like call in my vote. And it's like, oh, the team that I wanted to vote for is not even there. Which, mind you, maybe is not even a lot of people because the Head Shrinkers are still, for all things considered, heels. I mean,
it's like just happened face turn. So the fans are going to be like, even I would be like, oh, these guys are kind of jerks.
Yeah, right. But at the same time, you're going to have those people out there that connect those dots.
Well, yeah.
And are like, yeah, I want to see that happen because I hate the Quebecers.
Right. I doubt like 8-year-old kids are calling this hotline and be like, I hate Fatu and Samu and let's go Man on a Mission.
No, right.
It's going to be those guys that are like 20, 24 and be like, oh, storyline. I'm going to go with this one.
Yeah. Yeah. And not only that, when you stack them up, you're going to hate the Quebecers more than you hate the Head Shrinkers.
Absolutely.
Just naturally.
Yeah. But the thing too with the fan voting is, do you like the Head Shrinkers more than you like the Smoking Guns? Do you like them more than Men on a Mission?
Right.
I would have to think at this point, they're not there. I would imagine more people like the Head Shrinkers than the Bushwhackers, even when the Head Shrinkers were heels.
Right. Well, the way I'm approaching it as a person who's going to cast my vote, quote unquote, who's going to be the biggest threat to the Quebecers? Because I hate the Quebecers. The fucking Head Shrinkers are going to be. So, yeah, I want them to kill them. So, yep, I vote the Head Shrinkers.
That's totally logical.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at with it. By the way, the number, if you guys want to call in your vote, 1-900-420-VOTE. So you can go ahead and cast your vote there.
What is that, like $1.59 a minute?
Yeah, I think it was actually. If I had to guess, though, like if I'm guessing, these are the three teams they give us. It's probably going to be Men on a Mission.
But who would you vote for out of the three? Bushwhackers, Men on a Mission, or Smoking Guns?
Smoking Guns.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Because I mean, sure, Men on a Mission won by count out at WrestleMania, but like Mo really weighs that team down.
Yeah.
So like I'm relying on Mabel. With the Guns, it's like Billy and Bart
are even.
Yeah. Well,
kind of. More even than Men on a Mission.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, you're also probably gonna get a better match. I mean, the Guns are decent workers compared to Men on a Mission.
Exactly.
The Bushwhackers, I want to light myself on fire.
No, yeah, they're not even. I blocked them out completely. But yeah, I mean, if it's rigged or what have you, it's gonna be Men on a Mission.
I don't think it's rigged in the sense of like if the Guns or Bushwhackers or if they were to win, they'd be like, oh, Men on a Mission. I think it's rigged in the sense of like they know the fans are not going to vote Bushwhackers or Guns,
right? Just
because neither one of those teams have been necessarily presented strongly to justify it.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's kind of a bummer. Like those are the three choices we get. Like, cool, awesome.
Yeah. So basically, next week is going to be the Quebecers and Men on a Mission. If anybody's That's probably what's going to be. So
Yeah.
We get footage from WrestleMania 10 where the heels for the 10-man tag could not figure out who would be their captain. So thus the match didn't happen at WrestleMania 10. Instead, it's going to be happening here tonight, and that is our third contest. It's Jeff Jarrett, IRS, Rick Martel, and the previously mentioned Head Shrinkers, who, mind you, have just turned face, but are teaming with the heels.
So let me piggyback on that really quick. I'm thinking, okay, this is obvious, right? We're going to get this 10-man tag. Head Shrinkers are walking out. Like, they ain't going to stay with the heel team. There's no way. That's why they got to be doing this.
Right.
Either that or the Head Shrinkers are going to fucking savant kick all the heels and leave them laying and walk out. And like, here you go. Here's the win on a silver platter for you guys, because we're good guys now and we want you guys to win. So something's going to happen with the Head Shrinkers. That's why they're doing this right here, right after that segment. That's where I'm fully buying that. 100%. That's what's happening. So that's where I'm at before we go into the match.
Right. This whole progression is just blowing my mind. It makes I don't understand how you can be like, oh, Captain Lou Albano, clearly a babyface. Head Shrinkers, clearly just turned face. Now they're teaming with nothing but heels. I don't get it.
That's why I'm thinking there's going to be some bullshit.
I'm getting a headache right now.
Yeah.
They're taking on the team of Tatanka, 1-2-3 Kid, Sparky Plug, and the Smoking Guns. So let's get right into it here. Jarrett and Tatanka are the captains for their teams. So it's good to see that it took 3 weeks for the heels to decide, hey, all right, Jeff, you can do it.
All right, whatever.
Billy Gunn and Samu start the match. Samu takes Billy down with a hip toss, but Billy battles back with a backslide for a near fall. Samu with various clotheslines that causes Billy to spin in midair. Fatu probably was pissed by that. Fatu gets the tag and takes Billy down with a backbreaker and tags in Jarrett. Jarrett drops Billy with a side slam. Billy takes Jarrett down with a head scissors takedown and tags in Tatanka. Tatanka with a hip toss and a scoop slam and a Japanese arm drag. He's been watching some videotapes. Bart Gunn gets the tag and works on the left arm of Jarrett and rolls Jarrett up for a near fall. Jarrett stops Bart's offense with a boot to the midsection and connects with a snap suplex before tagging in IRS. Bart takes IRS down with an arm hook facebuster as Raw goes to commercial. Sparky gets the tag, and he is met with an eye rake by IRS. Martel tags in, but Plug works on Martel in the corner by ramming Martel headfirst into the turnbuckle.
Really quick here, too, I wanted to touch on a comment that Vince says. He says that Yoko Yuzuna was an angry 568-pounder. So there we go. We got an update on the weight there.
What was it, 568?
568. So he's presumably gained 70-ish pounds in a little over about a year.
Yeah, it's about, well, because he was originally 500, so it's 68 pounds.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there you go. I mean, they have ballooned the weight a little bit. I'm sure it's still going to go up from there. But yeah, I thought since he named such a specific number, I should make mention of that as well.
That's a nice callback to our third episode. We're like, we're gonna trace this.
Right.
Plug with the crossbody off the ropes for near fall. Plug works on the left arm of Martel for several moments. Plug is then sent into the ropes and is met with a knee to the back by IRS, who connects with a backbreaker, but misses an elbow drop. Kid gets the tag and takes IRS down with a heel kick and drops IRS across the top rope. Kid hits a springboard clothesline for a near fall. Kid continues his offense with a top rope crossbody for another 2 count. At this point, all the guys get in the ring, and it seemed like at that moment, the referee was like, guys, get in here, because they just all get in the ring to clearly set up the finish here. Then they brawl all over ringside as Kid connects with a spinning heel kick on IRS, but he doesn't go for the cover. Kid instead misses a leg attack in the corner and is pinned by IRS. After the match, the heels celebrate their win, and the babyfaces console 1-2-3 Kid to kind of finish off the segment. Now I mentioned this off the air because I thought maybe I was losing my mind, but the finish kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. Because again, all the brawling kind of maybe distracts you a little bit, and then you realize, what the fuck? IRS just won the match. That came out of absolutely nowhere. What did you think of this 10-man tag match?
To be honest with you, I didn't think it was too bad for a 10-man tag match. It kept my attention the whole time, which is saying something, because usually 10-man tag matches I could give a fuck about.
Sure.
Yeah, and it just, again, we talked about it off air. Everybody was able to kind of get their shine in the match, get their shit in, let's say. I would totally agree with you when it comes to the finish. I felt like it came out of nowhere. And again, if you're going to position Jarrett as your team leader, why isn't Jeff Jarrett getting the win here? There you go. He needs it. IRS don't need it. Jeff Jarrett fucking needs it. So there you go. Give him the win. And again, it just felt like they kind of ran out of time here. It was like, hey, IRS, roll him back in. We got to get a pin and we got to get out of this. Okay. That's definitely what it felt like. It was just really rushed is the best way to kind of explain it. Even when each guy was in getting their stuff in, they got in maybe not even 30 seconds of a move, and then they would tag out. And that was the only time that they were in the ring. So, I mean, all things considered, it could have been much, much worse. And I think my biggest disappointment is that nothing happened with the fucking head shrinkers. Like, how do you miss that opportunity to do something? I was blown away. Like, it was just like nothing ever happened. And that's another reason why when you say, yeah, it's taped, yeah, definitely fucking taped, because I feel like they would have tried to work something in instead of just completely blowing it off. I don't know. That was a bummer for me. That was kind of, it dragged the match down a little bit because I thought for sure that was going to happen. And it didn't.
I'm kind of annoyed that IRS pinned 1-2-3 Kid and not Tatanka.
Sure.
I mean, IRS and Tatanka, out of everybody in this match, actually have a program.
Right.
And it would seem like a pretty good opportunity. I know Tatanka hasn't lost many matches, but he has lost a couple at this point.
Yeah.
So having IRS pin him to add steam to their recently developed feud.
Yeah.
More effective. I just don't think you need to be pinning 1-2-3 Kid all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know, man. It's just could have been done a lot better for that finish.
These kinds of matches are the kind of matches that need to be like 15 minutes long. That way everybody can get their shit in.
Yeah.
And have proper pacing. But when you try to fit it in like 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah, it's impossible.
It's impossible. And like you mentioned, like Fatu can do one move and then that's it. Because you got 9 other dudes that got to get their stuff in. So.
Right. And like I said, I think they made the best out of what they had. But it could have been probably a little bit better.
It's like you mentioned, it's a decent 10-man tag, but probably something you would maybe want to do on house shows or something to just get more time and be more effective. So and
flesh out a little bit. Yeah.
We go to Vince McMahon and he plugs the vote line where fans can vote on the Quebecers defending the World Tag Team Championships next week. Of course, we just talked about it. It's the Bushwhackers, Men on a Mission, and Smoking Guns. And I had said that it was $1.59. Nope. It's $1.49.
No, so 49.
You're saving 10 cents just already, so you might as well make a couple phone calls and vote for the Smoking Guns. That way we don't have to see Men on a Mission Quebecers again. Please and thank you. We have our first, I believe this is the first time, right? Heartbreak Hotel.
Yeah, on Raw for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Heartbreak Hotel is up next with Shawn Michaels. Michaels has a heart-shaped bed, probably for him and Diesel, I'm assuming. He says that they are booked solid at the Heartbreak Hotel. And he says that Diesel is the manager of the hotel.
Calls him Big Daddy Cool.
Which is cool.
Not something we've heard.
I think that's the first time we've heard the nickname. Yeah. Officially heard the nickname, at least. Yeah. Michaels has his focus set on the WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon. And he says that they haven't even begun messing with him. Michael says that Diesel would like to challenge Razor Ramon for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. And Michael tells Ramon that he will never be able to leave the Heartbreak Hotel.
Yeah, it's I live for shit like this. When you come across these little gem segments here, I live for shit like this and talking about shit like this because I think it's, even more so maybe than some of the matches, shit like this lives on for a long time. So here we are. Like Bob said, definitely the first Heartbreak Hotel I know of.
It might have been on syndication, but for us, it's for Raw at least. I think it's for sure the first one.
So Bob says he's got a heart-shaped bed here. There's a leg lamp. There's a mirror, a neon sign, and again we get that Big Daddy Cool nickname drop, which I thought was pretty interesting. So Sean's talking. He says, "Oh, is this classy or what?" And Diesel says right into the mic, "That's classy." He's like doing like a BS accent again, which for the last couple of weeks he's been trying back on. But if we remember back when he's cutting the face-off promos, he doesn't have a fucking accent. He's just talking like Kevin Nash.
Right.
I don't like the cheesy, like mobster accent that he's trying to do. But again, he's rolling with it here, so we'll see how long he keeps that up. Sean asks Razor, "Oh, did you think we were just going to dry up and blow away?" Again, the challenge is thrown out to Diesel. And just as Bob says, he tells Razor that at the Heartbreak Hotel, you can check out, but you can never leave. And he asks for the lights to be turned out and that it was checkout time for Razor Ramon. So super cheesy, super 90s sort of thing. But again, I live for shit like this because it's such a timestamp, on the era. The Heartbreak Hotel with Shawn and Diesel. Yeah, I liked it. I hope we get more Heartbreak Hotel little segments. For some reason, I thought Bret Hart was supposed to be on this. I feel like they mentioned that somewhere.
That was for Superstars, I believe.
Okay. All right.
So I think the first one ever was on Superstars.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense then. So I was a little bit thrown off by that, but I like that they kind of kept this short. Like it didn't feel like it dragged on and Shawn was just droning on and on and on forever. He made his point. Diesel kind of got his little spot and then they closed it out, which I thought was good. So I enjoyed it. I look forward to more of those. I hope they do more of those. I think my best part though, my favorite part of the Heartbreak Hotel segment here is that every time Shawn would get on the bed, it was super funny to just watch him because his boots didn't have any grip. And he kept having to wiggle back up the bed and hide it. So he's slowly sliding down as he's on the bed, which was just hilarious and just stupid. So yes, I look forward to more Heartbreak Hotels. I liked that it didn't feel like it took forever.
What do you think about Diesel potentially challenging Razor Ramon?
I'm excited for it, although I think it might be a tad bit early because realistically, there's no way Diesel's beating Razor Ramon right now.
I think it's rushed.
It is rushed.
Yeah. Because sure, Diesel had a pretty impressive Rumble experience, but what has he done to even justify having earned that shot? I don't know. He's
friends with Shawn Michaels.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely rushed, and there's really hasn't been, as far as for Diesel Ramon, there hasn't been a ton of build up for a title match for sure.
Well, even the angles is Shawn Michaels getting his buddy a title shot.
Yeah, and it's
which is real life.
Right, it's Shawn, you should be the one fighting for your title again.
Well, he's saying his focus is on the Intercontinental Championship, and he's like, Diesel, go get it. I don't understand. So you're not focusing on it. You're sending your big buddy to go get it.
Yeah. So I don't. That is a little confusing, and like you said, I think that's perfect. The way you said it, it does feel rushed. We don't need to rush into this yet, and we are, which again makes me worried because, as I said, I don't think you can foreseeably let Diesel beat Razor Ramon right now. That's not going to happen. So,
what heel should be if Razor were to lose the belt, who should he lose it to, other than Shawn Michaels? Certainly not Jeff Jarrett.
Absolutely fucking not.
Right.
Jeff, he's probably pissed. He's calling me right now. Yeah, man. Holy shit. I don't fucking know. Why do you have that you think right off the top of your head?
No, but I just like that's the pickle you're in because you haven't really built up enough guys.
Not heel wise, absolutely not.
Like, if you want to look at it, look at WrestleMania 10, right? Like whenever I do my fantasy bookings or whatever, like I always look at what heels have I like at the pay-per-view who won, right?
Yeah.
And the first one that came to mind was Bam Bam Bigelow. Like he won the Doink feud, coming back, like you have him beat Razor and then build him up, as champion that way or something. You can't really do Crush because he was made to look like a fool,
right?
With Savage, so maybe a guy he's in the main event feud, like a guy like Owen.
I was gonna say Owen, but I want Owen to avoid that spot at all costs because if he gets pigeonholed there, I don't think he's ever leaving.
Right. Like it's right.
And a main event guy, so like just keep going with that. Like don't even worry about what's going on over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't know. That's a tough call. I think you're absolutely right. I think that's a very valid point that you make.
So I would have to think that maybe Ramon will be the Intercontinental Champion for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
Because I don't know if there's anybody that's really justifiable to take it off of him.
Yes.
We go to our main event. It's Yokozuna taking on Scott Powers.
Yeah.
This is pretty much by the books here of Yokozuna destroying somebody. He starts off with a clothesline early on, continues with a back suplex, comes off the ropes to deliver a leg drop across Powers' face, and then he finishes him off with the Banzai drop to pick up an easy victory. Like I said, by the book, Yokozuna, maybe try to get some momentum, even though who the fuck is Scott Powers and why would we care about Yokozuna beating him? But kind of like a reminder of, hey, this guy can do some things, and if he is going to headline against Brett, I guess you gotta show him in a positive light, like they did here.
Yeah, and again, it was highlights as we've seen recently of the old Yokozuna. He's laying shit in. He's the chops, the clotheslines, like he's laying shit in. It just looks like clockwork for Yokozuna, and that's how it should look. He's punching in. He's killing the guy, and he's punching out. That's it. That's how it should be. No fucking gaga and stumbling out on the outside of the ring and crashing into the post and falling down and slipping on a fucking banana peel and all this fucking bullshit. Like, this is what Yokozuna should have been doing till the end of time. This is what he needs to do. And the thing that got me most, which you don't see with everybody, is that when Yoko sets up for the Banzai drop, people literally stand out of their feet in anticipation for the Banzai drop. Like they're waiting for the impact. They literally, I watch them stand out of their seats to watch this. That's special. Not every guy is getting that. And then when he lands it and just sits there and just stays, he gets the 3, he just stays and he just looks out at the crowd. It's like, this is the Yokozuna I like. Why can't we have this Yokozuna all the time instead of like sprinkled here and there? So it's bittersweet for me. It was run of the mill, but again, it's another nice peek at old Yokozuna, which again, I called one of the hottest heel runs of all time with Yokozuna. So I don't know, man. It's a bummer because again, it's kind of like Adam Bomb. You've seen him just fall from grace to enjoying everything you saw to really not caring very much at all. So that's where I was at with it.
Well, I think the Banzai drop is probably the only finishing move where it's over.
You know it's over.
Yeah.
You know it's over. Unless he fucking is like stupid and falls off the second rope or something like that.
Yeah. And I don't know if I agree with Yokozuna's heel run being one of the best of all time because really he got his legs cut from underneath him when he lost to Hogan at Mania 9.
No, yeah, we've talked about that. I know you don't agree with it.
Yeah.
And we've gone over that several times. But just for me, in my opinion, like my excitement and my interest in his heel work when it was building and building and building, and he just looked fucking like a monster. I thought, in my opinion, is one of the best that I can recall off the top of my head. And it sucks because that's not the same guy we have. And of course, everybody needs to evolve and blah, blah, blah. Characters need to evolve. He's got Cornette now in his camp and all this shit.
But the Cornette thing was a positive.
It's a positive. It is. But at the same time, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yokozuna a year ago, well, more than that now, wasn't broke. Like, there was nothing wrong with Yokozuna. So I don't know. It's a good reminder of what he's capable of and how he's capable of looking. So I always, usually 9 times out of 10, I enjoy his squash matches, and this wasn't any different.
Yeah. To kind of close out the show here, McMahon hypes up what will be seen next week on the show, and of course, again, he makes sure to point out that the Quebecers will take on either Men on a Mission, Bushwhackers, or the Smoking Guns for the WWF World Tag Team Championships. So what did you think of this show overall?
I would say it was a decent week of Raw. Some good star power featured this week. You know, we finally heard from Perfect, which was good, which we needed to, although he really didn't tell us shit. We at least heard from him. I'm glad he's kind of slid right back into the heel role. That's where he needs to be. I think anything else is a mistake at this point. Yoko again looked dominant, and the 10-man was a fun distraction. So, like kind of I said about the Heartbreak Hotel, for an entire episode, I'd say this is good, like a good mile marker from 1997. It's got a little bit of everything.
Not for 1997, we're in 1994.
94. Thinking ahead. I'm thinking of the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good mile marker for 94. A little bit of crap mixed in, you know, with some good stuff, some hidden gem stuff like the Heartbreak Hotel and stuff like that. It's a good spot to kind of gauge where we're at in the timeline of WWF. So if you have never seen anything early 90s, mid 90s WWF, this is a good kind of flagpole episode to tune into, I think. And I had, kind of ending my little recap on a bittersweet note. I think I'm finally off the atom bomb wagon at this point.
I think we both are. I think this was a better episode than I ever recall it being when I first reviewed it. I think pretty much every segment served a purpose. And I would say it gives you a pretty good idea of what we're going to be getting in the spring.
Yes.
So for that, I can't really complain about it. The 10-man tag was decent enough. Quake Bomb, which is technically a WrestleMania 10 rematch, technically better than that match.
Yeah.
None of what happened is what we would have liked to have seen happen. But no, I think as like a precursor to what we'll see in the spring, it set up various things fairly well. So I thought it was fairly effective. Is it must see? Probably not. But if you like continuation, you like to see stories build, this is probably a good starting point.
Yeah.
To see where they're going to go in the spring and probably even summer, right, based off of this. So
yeah, that's the way it felt to me as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, where do we go from here, Austin? Well, we're going to be talking about Raw for probably the next 6 freaking weeks before we get to any kind of big events.
All I know is I'm ready for Owen Hart to start popping up again.
Sure.
I'm ready for some heel Owen Hart. And if I'll tell you right now, I'll make the stand right now in this episode 69. If we don't get as much Owen Hart as we can, heel Owen Hart, good Owen Hart stuff, I'm going to be real fucking disappointed.
I would have to think that we will get a bunch of Owen Hart. We're probably going to maybe even get too much of them.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm more than ready.
I think it's going to be fun to see his growth as a heel performer.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because look at how rapidly he's kind of assumed that role already.
Right.
You would have thought he's been working heel since he landed in WWF. Realistically, I mean, he still flubs. He still flubs on promos and can be a little shaky at times with his portrayal, maybe. But I think that's a good point. I think if he's grown this far this quick, imagine where we'll be in maybe summer. That's really exciting to me.
Right. Well, it's kind of in the same token as what we were talking about with Razor Ramon.
Sure.
Like you started the same starting point with Owen Hart, and he's like, would you have ever thought that he'd be where he is right now in 94? And I don't think you'd say, like, yeah, absolutely. There's no way. He's teaming with Coco Beware, and now is arguably the number one heel in the World Wrestling Federation. I don't think anybody would have told you that.
Yeah, he's got to win over the champion.
Right.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. And like you said, I think it is going to be kind of like that. It already is kind of like the Razor Ramon emergence. I'm ready for the Owen Hart emergence.
Yep. Just give you guys an idea here. We a bonus episode, another one will be released sometime soon, and that will be Starrcade 93. We did also recently watch WrestleFest 94, so that will be released probably sometime in July at this point, because we like to do at least a few regular series programs before we release a bonus episode. So be on the lookout for those. And then we'll be jumping into some 94 WCW with some Super Brawl in the coming weeks. Totally different products. We mentioned on the bonus episodes, that product really becomes different in the summer because a certain brother arrives. So that'll be interesting to see how that kind of transpires. But I don't know if you got anything else to discuss here. Again, Siri mentioning that she can't connect to my internet.
She likes to interrupt us a lot, Bob.
I don't understand. Like, literally, she has not done that for days. And it seems that anytime I do a podcast, she's just like, help me. It's like, I don't want to.
Well, at least it's not like we're like 69 episodes in. We're just still working out some kinks. Yeah. That's the way it goes here on ICOPOD. We both got probably 3 phone calls each over the last hour. Alexa's running her mouth off in the background.
Yeah.
So, that's just how things go. It's unbelievable, much like Monday Night Raw has been. So I'm looking forward to next week. We really didn't get anything promoted by Vince next week, which is kind of unusual because at least we get usually something.
He'll even run down who's in squash matches, but he just was like, oh, there'll be a tag title match.
Yeah, that's what we get. Yeah. So it's going to be a mixed bag, much like ICOPOD is, and I'm ready for it.
Right. And if you ever want to support us, you can go to Redbubble and buy a t-shirt for like $20 or whatever, buy a mug for 10. I don't know the actual price points, but before I go to Florida, I got to get a t-shirt and
that's right.
Support the brand. So
that's right.
You guys are, again, if there's no pressure, nothing bad will happen to you. I mean, it'd be great if you did, though. I mean, to be honest with you, I've been watching a lot of Dateline, so I know how to get away with shit.
Move on.
Wait, if we don't want to talk about that?
No, don't tell him. Don't tell him you're going to kill him.
Oh.
What's the fucking point? Move on. Go.
So should I just close it here? And,
yeah.
All right, so like edit this part out and be like, oh, hey, we're back.
Right.
Okay. All right, so Bob, just cut this part out. Okay. Yeah. All right, Austin. So you got anything else for?
No, man. I think that'll do it. I'm looking forward to next week, and we'll see how things go.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to as well a big tag team title match, and I hope everybody checks us out for episode 70. For Austin Skinner, I'm Bob Conley Jr., and this has been an episode of ICOPOD.
You gotta hear it.